Namaskar. For the paper of microwave electronics, for the chapter of waveguides, today we discuss the attenuation and quality factor in waveguides. In our previous lectures, we have discussed the transverse electric and transverse magnetic modes for the rectangular and circular waveguides, and for the transmission of T and TM waves in circular and rectangular waveguides, for the transmission along the z-axis, which is considered as the axis of the waveguide. For each component of EM field, which has the general form for rectangular waveguides y xx yy e raised to the power j omega t minus gamma z, and for the circular waveguides p rho q phi into e raised to the power j omega t minus gamma z for circular waveguides. Here the time dependence or the harmonic dependence of the EM fields is considered by the factor e raised to the power j omega t. And during that discussion, we have considered the ideal condition for the lossless transmission in waveguides, but in actual practice there is a finite losses or attenuation in waveguides, and that is caused by the dielectric loss and the wall losses of the waveguide. When the conductivity of the dielectric filling the waveguide is not zero, or the conductivity of the material composing the guide walls is non-infinite, then there will be always some losses or power loss occurs in these materials during the travel of the EM waves. Similarly, if the conductivity of the guide walls is not infinite, then also wall losses occur in the waveguide, and this loss may be termed as ohmic loss or copper loss. First, we evaluate the attenuation due to lossy dielectric, and we find out the expression for it. For the Maxwell equation, del cross B equal to mu J plus mu epsilon del E over del T, and or in terms of H, del cross H equal to J plus epsilon del E over del T, where J equal to sigma E. J is called the free current density and sigma is the conductivity. Also, for the time varying fields, using the harmonic dependence e raised to the power j omega t, the derivative del over del t may be replaced by j omega. And using these terms, the Maxwell equation del cross H becomes del cross H equal to sigma E plus j omega epsilon E. Or if we take j omega epsilon common outside, then inside the bracket we get 1 plus sigma upon j omega epsilon into E. E is also taken as common. And now if we replace the terms inside the bracket multiplied with epsilon by epsilon effective term, where epsilon effective is given by equation 1 and is equal to epsilon into 1 plus sigma upon j omega epsilon. Thus, for calculating the attenuation due to lossy dielectric filling the waveguide, the dielectric constant epsilon may be replaced by the effective dielectric constant. Now, from our previous equations, as h square is given by gamma square plus omega square mu epsilon, from which the propagation constant gamma will be root h square minus omega square mu epsilon effective. So here we have replaced this epsilon term by epsilon effective term from equation number 1. Now, for the propagation in waveguides, h square must be equal to omega c square mu epsilon effective, where omega c is the cutoff frequency. So therefore, gamma may be expressed by the term by the equation number 2, in which value of epsilon effective is substituted from equation number 1. Now, in normally dielectric materials which we use for filling the waveguide, the displacement current is very much greater than the conduction current at very high frequencies or in the microwave region. So therefore, sigma upon omega epsilon term will be very less than 1, and when we use this approximation in equation number 2, the gamma value then becomes root mu epsilon into omega c square minus omega square into 1 plus sigma upon twice j omega epsilon when we expand equation number 2 by binomial theorem, and here the first term is retained and the higher order terms which have very smaller or negligible value are omitted here. So the gamma value will now become j omega root mu epsilon into root 1 minus fc square upon f square into 1 plus sigma upon twice j omega epsilon. So since this equation contains two terms and one of the term, which is real part, is shown here by alpha d, and the imaginary term by beta g in equation number 3, where values of beta g and alpha d, these are shown in equation number 4 and 5 respectively. So here alpha d is the attenuation constant for lossy dielectric, and all the field components will be multiplied by the decrement factor e raised to the power plus minus j beta g sigma upon twice omega epsilon into z when the dielectric losses occurs. So this is the expression for the dielectric loss. Now we calculate the attenuation due to wall losses. So for lossless transmission with gamma equal to j beta, we have assumed the waveguide walls of infinite conductivity, but in actual practice the conductivity of the material used for the construction of waveguide walls is rarely infinite, so there will be some losses. The attenuation of waves caused by the dissipation of energy as ohmic loss in the walls of the guide may be now calculated by the effect of energy loss by using the transmission line equations for the voltage and current, which are shown here. V equal to V0 e raised to the power minus alpha plus j beta z, and I equal to I0 into e raised to the power minus alpha plus j beta z, and the average power transmitted is given by half real part of V I star. After substituting the values of V and I star from the above equations, P average is given by half real part of V0 I0 star e raised to the power minus twice alpha z. So this is the expression for power average. Now the rate of decrease of power transmitted will be given by minus del over del z of PV, which comes out to be twice alpha into PAV, and for the unit length the power loss will be given by minus P delta P average, which is equal to twice alpha P average, where delta Z is taken to be unit length. So from this equation we now calculate the expression for the alpha. First the expression for 2 alpha is given by power lost per unit length upon power transmitted. So if we find out the ratio of these two, then, and after substituting the values as described above, this will give us twice alpha. So from this equation the value of the attenuation constant alpha is given by P lost over P over twice P transmitted, as shown in equation number 6. Now to calculate P lost and P transmission, the linear current density Js is given by the modulus of H tangential, since the tangential component of H is continuous across the boundary. So the power loss per unit length of the guide may be calculated by the equation P equal to half Rs at surface integral of J square dA. So this equation is similar to half Rs into I square, and value of J current density is substituted in terms of modulus of H tangential. So this equation for P lost is shown in now equation number 7, where Rs is the actual surface resistance of walls. Now suppose we consider the case of TM waves in rectangular waveguides. So the expressions for the field components Hx, Hy, Ex, Ey, as earlier we have discussed in our previous lectures, these field components are shown in equation number 8 together with the values of the constants A equal to n pi upon B and P equal to m pi upon A, where small a and small b, these are the wider and the shorter dimensions of the rectangular waveguide. Now since the component Hx is tangential to the xz plane and at y equal to 0 and y equal to b, the value of cos ay will be unity, and it means the maximum value of Hx from equation number 8 will be given by Hx equal to omega epsilon c upon h square a sin bx, as given in equation number 9. Similarly, hy0 is tangential to the yz plane and its maximum values at x equal to 0 and x equal to a will be given by hy0 equal to minus omega epsilon c upon h square b sin ay as shown in equation number 10. Now from equation 7, 9 and 10 we can calculate the power lost, which is given by twice into here the equation 7 is used as derived above for P lost. So here the modulus H tangential square will be substituted for the two pair of conducting walls of the rectangular waveguide. So it is given by equation number 11. So here the multiplication by the factor 2 is here considered, since there are two pair of parallel conducting planes or faces. Now when we put the values of hx0 and hy0 from equation 9 and 10, and when we simplify this equation number 11, then the power lost will be given by equation number 12. So here the values of the integrals within the limits 0 to a and 0 to b has been substituted here. Now from any point in the guide, the power transmitted is given by the Poynting vector equation. Now we calculate the power transmitted per unit cross sectional area, which is half E cross H star along the z axis, and the E cross H will gives us EXHY minus EYHX. Now again substituting the values of the field components from equation number 8. So this equation is shown here for P transmitted after substituting the values at any point. Now we simplify this equation for the entire cross-sectional area of the waveguide. So when this equation is integrated between the limits 0 to a, 0 to b, then the power transmitted will be given by equation number 13. And now if we substitute the values of equation number 12 and 13 into equation number 6, we can now calculate the wall losses, attenuation due to wall losses, which is given by alpha equal to P lost upon twice into P transmitted. And when we put the values, this comes out to be by the value alpha equal to twice Rs omega epsilon upon beta H square into n square pi square upon b cube plus m square pi square upon a cube. Also substituting the value of H square equal to omega c square mu epsilon and the value of beta, then the value of attenuation constant for the TM wave for the case of rectangular waveguides will be given by this expression. Here the surface resistance Rs having the value root omega mu m upon twice sigma m is also being substituted. Mu m and sigma m are the values of the permeability and conductivity for the metal, which is used for the construction of wall losses for the walls of the waveguide, and the value of alpha here is being calculated in this way. So it is noticed that this value of alpha, this is also a function of frequency. So similarly wall losses, and it means wall losses and the dielectric loss both are functions of frequency. The attenuation versus frequency curves for the rectangular and the circular waveguides are shown in the figures. So at very low frequencies, below the cutoff frequency, near the cutoff frequency, the attenuation is very large, and as we increase the frequency above cutoff frequency, attenuation decreases, having a minimum value, and after that further increasing the value of frequency, attenuation increases for the various T and Tm modes as shown in the figure. Similar behavior is expressed for the circular waveguides, and TE01 wave is the exceptional case in which the value of alpha continuously decreases with increasing frequency. So this behavior is noticed here. Some other important features from these curves are also mentioned in the following points, which are: attenuation is very high near cutoff frequency, above cutoff frequency decreases to a quite low value, and for circular waveguides, alpha minimum occurs at about √3 times the cutoff frequency. So as earlier described, TE0M waves are the exceptional cases. For TE0M waves, wall currents decreases as the frequency increases. So slight deformation in the guide produces additional wall currents that unfortunately nullify this desirable characteristic. So this is about the attenuation in waveguides. Now we discuss the quality factor of waveguides. So in LCR resonant circuits, as we define the quality factor Q by omega L over R. So if multiplication of I square in both numerator and denominator terms, that will gives us the formula for Q as omega times the ratio of energy stored and energy lost per second. So this definition may also be used for the waveguides, and for the waveguides we now define the quality factor as omega times the ratio of energy stored per unit length divided by energy lost per unit length per second. So now the transmission of energy stored per unit length per second, or energy transmitted per second. So this may be given by V into energy stored per unit length, where V is the group velocity in the waveguide. So from this equation, energy stored per unit length may be given by 1 upon V into power transmitted. So therefore in the formula of quality factor, when we put the value of energy stored per unit length by this equation as defined here, then the Q will be given by omega upon V into P transmitted over P lost. Now from the definition of alpha, which is defined by P lost upon twice P transmitted, so when this relation is used, then Q value becomes omega upon twice alpha V. In waveguide, group velocity and phase velocity, these are related by the equation V equal to V0 square upon Vg, where V0 is the wave velocity in free space. So therefore, the expression for Q will now become omega upon 2 alpha, and in place of V, when we put this value, this will become omega upon 2 alpha into Vg over V0 square. So therefore, Q will be given by omega upon twice alpha into V0 square, and for Vg we put the value omega by beta. So again, now substituting for beta, then the quality factor will become Q equal to omega upon 2 alpha V0 under root 1 minus omega c square over omega square. So this will be the expression for the quality factor. As we know that quality factor is a very important factor. The high values of Q are desirable for the lossless transmission. So from this equation also we see that as the value of attenuation constant alpha decreases or becomes very small, the value of quality factor Q increases and it attains a very high value for lossless transmission or for very low transmission, for very low loss transmission. So this is about the waveguide. In our next lectures, we will discuss about the microwave resonant cavities. Thank you.